Well, good morning, good afternoon or good evening to you, depending on when you see this short video clip or listen to the audio recording version. For those of you who don't already know, my name is Jonathan Royal. I'm speaking to you from England, UK, and I am an experienced hypnotist, neuro-linguistic programming master practitioner, and all-round general master of mind control that's taught thousands of people around the world. You can find out more about me personally at magicalguru.com. That's magicalguru.com, and also at www.elitehypnosisbootcamp.com. And it's my great pleasure to be here with you today to tell you a little bit about the course that my friend Nehad Rajab, I hope I pronounced that correctly. Now, the language of magic and influence really does sum up what this audio course is all about. Because language itself has got a great amount of magic and trickery and misunderstanding sometimes involved in it. And I can tell you from experience as a hypnotist that the correct use of language can give you immense power, influence and persuasion over people. It's especially useful for salespeople to help make more sales. It's great for people who work in customer service, who work with public relations or human resources in companies where they've got to motivate staff to get maximum work out of the workforce and to make the staff and the workplace happier and more relaxed and productive. It's great for use by individuals to make their own personal relationships with their partners and the friends and the family more harmonious. In fact, there's every area of life language can and is incredibly important in. And as I say, my colleague and also one of my students, because for a number of years Nehad studied my courses, which I've been running now for nearly enough 22 years now, in all areas of hypnosis, persuasion, mind control. And this is positive use of these things. Let me tell you, that's what you're going to learn on this course, called The Language of Magic and Influence. Okay, now you can find out more about that particular course by visiting Nehad's website, which is www.nehadrajab.com. I'll spell that just in case for any reason I pronounced it wrong, in which case I apologise, but it's www.N for Norman, I for Indigo, H for Harry, A for Apple, D for Dog, R for Rabbit, A for Apple, G for Green, A for Apple, B for Bertie.com. That's nehadrajab.com. That's where you'll find out full details about that course. So you may be listening to it now. This may be the introduction. I really don't know. But you know what? I just want to run a couple of things past you so you can get an idea of how important the information you can learn off this audio course is going to be, and how immensely valuable it can be in all areas of your life, personally, spiritually, emotionally, business-wise, financially, basically every area of your life. I'll just give you a few examples, but I can tell you that during the course, Nehad is going to teach you techniques that have been found to be amazingly powerful and were developed by the likes of Milton Erickson, an amazingly famous and respected hypnotherapist and master of language, which is where this whole covert language patterns and covert persuasion, almost being able to say things under the radar so you can influence people's minds, comes from. He came up with a thing called the Milton model. And then there's a guy called Robert Dilts, who's also famous in the world of neuro-linguistic programming, who came up with a thing called sleight of mouth. A very tiny example of that is that you can say things that sound like the word that makes the sentence sound normal, but actually you've said the wrong word. Okay, now what happens is consciously people make sense of the sentence so it sounds right, but unconsciously that wrong word, which generally is a command, has gone in. That'll make more sense as you listen to this fantastic course. Also, people react to language in different ways. And you can find this out quite easily by listening to the way they speak. Some people are visual, and you can tell this because they'll say a lot of things in the language such as, "Oh, I see what you mean. Oh, have you looked at things from a different point of view?" If they're talking those kinds of phrases, then what they're saying to you is, it's easier to influence by saying things back to them in that manner, you know. So respond to them when they've said something to you by going, "Yeah, I see what you mean." And they'll think, well, that will create fantastic rapport with the person because you're talking in their language. It's like you're thinking like them. Other people are auditory, and they'll, you know, they're more into hearing, and they may say something like, "I hear what you're saying," or "That doesn't sound good to me." So you obviously, when you notice this in their language, can talk to them in a manner where you're going, "You know what, you'll love the sound of this." And immediately, they're going to be more attentive to it, and it's more likely to have an influence on them. So we've done visual, auditory, kinesthetic, which is touch, feeling. Perhaps the person says a lot of things like, "Ooh, that makes me feel funny," or "Ooh, that's a bit of a rough idea." Rough is a feeling, it's a texture thing. So, you know, you'd be better off talking to those kinds of people in the manner of, "You know what, I've got a feeling you'll like this." And that sentence, not only has it got the words in that are kinesthetic, that I've got a feeling, but then with the pause, a slight pause in your language sometimes can mean that consciously it just sounds like the sentence, I feel that you're going to like this, but what happens is unconsciously, back here, it breaks it into two sentences. I feel you're going to, pause, like this, which is like a command telling them to like it. So you're almost influencing them to like it more. So visual, auditory, kinesthetic, olfactory, which is smell. There might, you know, be a person who says things like, "That smells funny," or something doesn't smell right about this. I think by now you get the idea. If you can use phrases like that in your language when you're talking to them, you're going to be more persuasive. And obviously the final ones, that's visual, auditory, kinesthetic, olfactory, gustatory, or taste. They might be the kind of person who goes, "Oh, I'm feeling bitter about that." Now, I know they said feeling, but it's where it gets complicated. Feeling, you might think kinesthetic, but bitter, it's a taste thing. So you'd listen for more clues in their language to find out whether they are a feeling person or whether they are a taste, gustatory person. And let's say they then came out, "Oh, that left a nasty taste in the mouth." You know they're more inclined that way. Now, in truth, people tend to demonstrate at least two of these types of reactions in their language. So hence that last example, you know, feel a bit bitter about that. Feeling is kinesthetic and bitter is a taste thing. So if you can combine both types of language in your proposals to them in business, or your suggestions to them in what you want, negotiating wise in personal encounters, then they're more likely to feel good about it. And when people feel good about something they've been asked to do, guess what? They're more likely to do it. And that's what this course, the language of magic and influence, is all about. It goes into great depth about numerous techniques, the Milton model, sleight of mouth by Robert Dilts, other techniques, sentence structure. You know, you can embed commands in. By that I mean you can hide messages and suggestions to make them more persuasive in a normal sentence. Now, a hypnotist, for example, will say to somebody maybe a sentence that consciously is perceived as, "I don't know if you want to go into a trance now or in a few moments' time, but go into a trance, you will all the same." Now, if you listen back to this audio again, or if you're watching the video version, rewind it slightly, you'll hear that I paused after certain bits. So consciously, it's all taken in as one sentence, but wherever I pause, that unconsciously becomes a separate sentence. And also to emphasise that more, certain bits, and as the example, anything to do with the word trance, becomes a command because I say it in a slightly higher voice tone. So I'll give you that example again. So it's like, I don't know if you want to go into a trance now or in a few moments' time, but go into a trance, you will all the same. So there's a slight emphasis on certain sections more than the other, and the little pause before the instruction. So I don't know if you want to go into a trance now or in a few moments' time, but go into a trance, you will all the same. Now I'm purposely overemphasising the pause there. That's really, really obvious to give you the idea of how a hidden message and command is in the sentence. Obviously, done truthfully in the real world, it will be more a case of, I don't know if you want to go into a trance now or in a few moments' time, but go into a trance, you will all the same as you relax more. That's just a hypnotist example, but this can be done in sales, it can be done in marketing, it can be done, you know, with staff. I don't know if you want to finish that file today so it's out of the way, or leave it for later in the week, but finish that file today, I'm sure you'll agree. And that's what they call, you kind of binding them into it. By going, I'm sure you'll agree, it's like and you can physically do it, I'm sure you'll agree, and nodding is emphasising it. It's kind of, they've got to agree, and by agreeing, they're agreeing to the hidden message, which is get it done today, so you're motivating the staff more. That's just another example. There's so many ways these can be used, and you've got to understand all the technicalities first, which is why it'll be so valuable and beneficial to you to go and buy The Language of Magic and Influence by my colleague Nehad Harajab from his website www.nehadarajab.com, spelt NIHADRAJAB.com. That's the website where you can get this audio course. What I've given you is just a few examples, and it really is just a few examples of how some people talk in terms of the way they see things, the way they hear things, the way they feel things, the way they smell or taste them. That is what their motivating triggers are in life. Generally it's a combination of a couple, as in the example I gave earlier of, that, you know, makes me feel bitter. Feel is a clue to them being kinesthetic, bitter is a taste thing. So you get those clues by listening to the other person, by using both your ears listening, and then when you talk to that person to give them a suggestion or request, you can do it in a manner where immediately it's in their language, they totally understand it, but in a manner they feel good about. It's like you've got a total rapport with them, you know. And when somebody feels good about what you're saying, they're more likely to do it, and that makes you very persuasive, very powerful, and very charismatic as well. You know, it makes you charismatic to the opposite sex, and it helps you influence people in business, personally, and in all manner of ways. And sometimes language can be used by also hiding things, as we've talked about, and sometimes it can just be by making an implication. So if you say to somebody, you know, I'm sure that you'll make that intelligent decision right now to go to www.nehadarajab.com, that's www.nehadarajab.com, to secure your copy of The Language of Magic and Influence before they're gone, okay? Make sure you get this before it's sold out, and obviously you want to be ahead of the game and have this information securely inside your mind, so that you've got that knowledge, so that you can be persuasive, so that you can take control of your life and your destiny and your future success, so you can get the best out of every possible situation that life has to bring for you. It's like having a user's manual for your own personal laptop computer is to get your hands on an audio course like this. This will start you on a great journey where you can persuade people and influence them. But that was also an example of how by saying something such as, I'm sure you will make the intelligent decision, you're implying that if they don't do what you say after that phrase, that they're not intelligent. And that would make somebody feel negative about themselves. And people want to feel good about themselves, so therefore if you go, you know, I'm sure that you'll make the intelligent decision to, the bit you put on afterwards, as long as it's not too ridiculous or dangerous or anything like that, as long as it sounds logical and in context, the person's way more likely to do it because it's going to make them feel good, because it proves that they are intelligent. These are just a few, these are scratching the surface. There is way more powerful and persuasive and clever techniques that you will learn in the language of magic and influence. So get yourself over to www.nihadragab.com. That's www.nihadragab.com. And when you've started your journey and you're having all this success in life, if you want to learn even more hypnotic techniques down the line, then please do come and contact my good self, Jonathan Royal, via www.elitehypnosisbootcamp. That's E for elephant, L-I-T-E, hypnosis, that's H-Y-P-N-O-S-I-S, bootcamp is B-O-O-T-C-A-M-P.com, or www.magical, that's M-A-G-I-C-A-L, guru, G-U-R-U.com, and I'll be happy to point you in the right direction of what's most relevant for you. But get started, get yourself over there, learn the magical power of language with this fantastic course available right now at www.nihadragab.com. I'm Jonathan Royal, and good luck.